So we have our flames laid out. I use the Alvin tracing paper, lightweight. This stuff's awesome. I have it up on my Amazon store. You can go check that out. Or you can go to your local hobby shop or whatever and get it there also. But there's 50 yards in this roll and you just never seem to run out. So I like that, super convenient. I also pre-cut my tape so I could just keep rolling. Now, when you start coming to these radiuses like this, you see how the tape or the paper starts to kind of crumble and bunch up. The nice thing about the lightweight is it keeps folding over itself. If you have a thicker tracing paper, the thicker tracing paper, you have to fold over more because it just doesn't bend like this thinner stuff does. Again, super nice, super convenient. So I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna tear the bottom part off because I need to tape the paper to the panel. So pull that off, throw that out, pull and tape. You want to keep it as tight as you can to the panel. Now I am going to fold it a little bit. Let's find a good spot to fold. Let's fold right about here. And the nice thing about taping also is like I can move this piece of tape over if I need to. I could bring it over here a little bit more. Use that, wrap this around this way. Tape it nice and tight. Same thing, fold over this way. Tape it, make sure it's nice and tight. That's looking pretty good. Next, carpenter's crayon. Just go back and forth and you can see how that flame just appears. Get it all. And the better you do on each job just makes the next step even easier. So take your time, do the best job you can, because it will make your life easier as you go. And another thing that's a nice idea is to get a file folder with every person's job that you do. Mark the folder. Keep all these stencils folded up in the folder in case you have to touch something up. You could write down what kind of paint you used or paint code, how much you charged, how much the paint was. Keep a list of details so if you ever have to go back, you can. All right, now that that's done, you can see every line. Let's take this off. Try not to rip the paper if you could help it. And now I have my flames. Next, we have to take a pounce wheel and make little holes in the paper so when we flip it and we pounce it with the chalk, all of the little holes, the chalk can go through onto the next panel and we can tape it easier. So, to pounce, I always run the inside of the lines, not the outside, the inside, because then I could match up the inside on all these little tips and make sure that everything is the same as what is on the other piece. So I'm going to flip this thing inside out like that, and I'm going to run holes with the pounce wheel all the way on the inside. Now this pounce wheel is also up on my Amazon store, so you can go check that out. I just wanted to get a place where everybody can go kind of get stuff easily. And these are actually for sewing, which is better than the other pounce wheels I found because it gives you bigger, better holes. They're easier to use. But what I did find when they came in from Amazon, I had to take a small screwdriver and tighten this screw up just a little bit because this wheel was real flimsy before. But that's all. Nothing too crazy. I just tightened up the screw. And I also find that I am pushing down a little bit of pressure. But I also find that these little spikes here on this spur wheel they definitely puncture a lot better than the old Pounce wheels that I used to use. The other Pounce wheels just seemed kind of dull, and I had to push hard. They would skip a lot. This actually pokes real nice holes. There you go. Almost done. And you could use this technique for tribal flames, graphics. You could even use it for doing bigger signs and stuff like that. If you have big letters or numbers or something, you could pounce the design right onto a brick wall or a door or a window and start painting right from there. There we go. And all I have to do is this radius here, and we're done. Now that I punctured all those holes, I take some sandpaper. This is just 240. And you could feel the holes where you punctured everything. I just go and I sand the ridges off just a little bit. This could be overkill, but again, I want to see as much as I can and make it the easiest I can for me when I transfer. So I found that if you sand the ridges of the puncture marks off, it opens up that hole a little bit more and lets that chalk get in there. Now, I always keep the other piece kind of close by, whether on a table or same table, so I can match this all back up and get it as close as I can. The whole point of doing all this is so you could mirror the other side. So why do all this if you're just gonna kind of guess and go for it anyways? I understand you don't see both sides at the same time. I get it. It can be a smidge off, but the closer, the better. So I'm just gonna kind of mock this up kind of lightly. And I go and I use a set of mics. So I'll go back and forth and resize. So from here to here, here to here, here to here, and make sure, cross-reference all sorts of different angles to make sure that this is as close as this. Only reason I do that is because there is such a soft edge on these bags as opposed to harder edged Harley bags or other reference areas that you could do that these just don't have. So these work great, a little extra time consuming, but really not that big of a deal. After a little back and forth action, it's time to pounce. This is a Hansi pounce pad. You don't need this. You could use a sock and some carpenter's chalk. You could literally use anything that you have on hand. An old rag. Throw some carpenter's chalk in there. Snap line chalk. Anything that will release chalk as you smack it against the panel. Make sure you get all the areas. I like to work it in a little bit. And let's see. There you have it. Now that the pouncing is all done, I'm going to grab 1/8 inch J tape and I am going to start running my lines. Let's go. And remember, we pounced the inside of the design. So I want to run the tape outside of all of these dots. And I'm guiding the tape with my left hand right now while pressing down with my right and I'm just kind of steering while I'm pushing at the same time. You don't want to stop the tape and start pushing. You want to keep moving all at the same time. If you don't keep moving, you're going to get a flat spot. The flames aren't flat. What I do like about the J-tape is it turns real nice. It's kind of transparent, so if you're doing overlapping flames, you can kind of see where you're cutting. It rolls real nice. Sticks pretty good, especially on chalk. Sometimes you get some tapes that don't stick on chalk very well, so then the corners and the edges start creeping up on you as you're running your flames, and that's really annoying. There we go. And we got one more, and then it is time to mask the flames off. Take your time around these turns. Try not to get any flat spots. Get a nice round inside. Oh, see, I stopped. Don't stop, dummy. There we go. Just like that. So I just got turned on to this stuff called Q1. You can see right through it. It's super nice. Just got turned on to this company called Q1. I'm working on getting some of it in my own hands so I could put it up on my website. Hopefully that comes soon. What I like about it is you can see right through it. When I am doing flames, I always want to have it as flat as I can everywhere. So when I cut, I know where the heck I'm cutting, and I'm not going to get any blow-bys. If you are trying to turn tape into areas, you'll always get this cupping, and then you can get blow-by underneath it. And if you get blow-by underneath it, then you're going to be cleaning up your other, your other spots. And this is hard cleared, but sometimes if you're rolling dirty and you're just doing this on base coat or something, you can't have blow-bys. So that's what I like about this stuff. And it does come in 2-inch, an 1.25 inch, and all those convenient widths. So I'm doing the best I can, and hopefully I'll have some good news in the future. We'll just go like this. Now I don't have to go all the way over because I'm going to be cutting all this out anyways. So I'm just going to go across here like this. Take a nice clean cut. And then go from there. Now we're ready to cut. Brand new blade. Score, don't cut. Stuff's very thin. And cut through it, you'll see lines. Score it, don't cut it. Pull away. Now you'll have a nice clean edge. After you get it to this point, I'm going to take some masking paper. I've got a big roll of masking paper. Just lay it down. Grab some, I guess I'll just use some cheap 3/4. This is American tape. Nothing too crazy. You could also use 2-inch tape. Put it on there. This is all just to protect everything else. All my paint is primarily going to go on the tape anyways, so some overspray is going to get on the paper, but that's why you want to tape off the flames more than, you know, trying to get paper up into here and all that, I will also practice what I preach. Throw some down here. Now all of the paint will get on the tape. You want it to be as protected as you can. I'll get some 2-inch for this backside. 2-inch and 3/4 masking tape. Pretty much all you need. 1/8 inch for flames. 1/4 inch and 1/16 if you're doing some type of like a lowrider, graphic, you know, style. So you have different options for whatever. But 9 times out of 10, I'm running 1/8 inch tape, 3/4, and 2-inch. So if you were gonna go out and just grab a couple rolls of tape, I'd get 1 roll of 2-inch, 1 roll of 3/4, and 1 roll of 1/8 inch. That'll get you started. Always make sure you tape this stuff up because that will find its way around. Tape will always find its way to survive. I mean paint. Paint wants to stick to stuff and it'll find a way. All right. That's ready for paint.